Hey everyone, it's the First Lady Tasha Mack. I'm here with Mr. Bailey. We are here about to briefly just discuss what's going on with Bailey's Catfish and, trying to get that thing back up and running in the proper places with all the proper procedures in place. We're not trying to break any laws here. We're trying to do this thing the right way. So I'm just going to, get a brief little questions with Mr. Bailey. First off, why don't you give them some background info about what's going on? Because not everyone is aware of what's going on with the food truck.
The city of Lawton and the state health department, uh, they have been lying on a law that does not exist. They said that trailers can't move, trailers have to move every 12 hours, and there's no law that states that they are able to stay. And they've been telling me that lie for 2 years. And the law is a 45F license, which they knew there was a license. And they have harassed me for 3 years on it, 2 years of harassment and closed down for 8 months. Now, the law is a 45F license, which requires me the right to stay still. And they're allowing the snow cone trailers to sit on the same license, and they're letting them sit still and acknowledging their license, but they're not acknowledging my license, that there is a license out there. And I've been harassed 6 months by by individuals that say they was with the health department. They work in different positions because the health department didn't actually take a course in this until 2015. For 7 months, I was harassed by a gentleman named Zach, and working with him would be City Councilman Mr. Tanner. They approached me telling me that I didn't have the right to set up and operate as a business there because I haven't invested enough money. From that point on, in the 7 months, Zach came to my trailer every twice a month, telling me that I had to move the trailer because he had complaints. Now, they did that for 6 months, 7 months, and then the health department actually got involved after that. So I've been harassed, and then when the health department got involved, they harassed me and came down with multiple inspections. All of it was because my rights I had to leave that area. They didn't want me there, and it wasn't no law that I was breaking. He came and told me that I didn't have the right, and that's the only license that I failed not to have. And if the city councilman then turned around and went and took the same law that they closed me down on, that they lied and said it was a law that trailers couldn't sit still, and now they passed it in the city, so now they can dictate and tell you now that they don't have, they can't stay. So, and at the same time, when they passed that law, they still made it so the white trailer as a snow cone can still set up. That's why I say it's prejudice, and it's a hate thing. They don't want me to set up.
Okay, now for those who do not know, there are three different kind of licenses in this situation. There's a 45S, which is a seasonal, which you that's a license that you're able to operate for 180 days out of the year. That's it. There's a 45M, which means mobile, which means you have to you're required to move your food truck or trailer every 12 hours. And then there's a 45F, which stands for fixed, which is basically the same thing as running a small restaurant. You don't have to move that. Who can move a restaurant? I can't. I ain't Superwoman. I try to be, but I'm not. Which means that you don't have to. The 45F is fixed, stands for fixed, means you don't have to move. It's like the same thing as a regular restaurant would have. Mr. Bailey, what kind of license do you have?
I have the 45F, which they never acknowledged the 45F. They told me there was no such thing as a license, and there's never been a trailer ever set up. That's what the city councilman, Mr. Tanner, told me, that there's never been a trailer ever set up in the state of Oklahoma. He knows the law, and I was just being a hard ass, and I should just move my trailer. And this is what he told me, and then the health department just backed him up with this. And there's a 45F, but nobody is acknowledging that I have this license.
Okay, so a few other questions. You said you've been shut down for 8 months.
Yes,
That has got to be taking a toll on your pockets.
yes, ma'am, it has.
8 months is a long time. That's almost a year that you've been out of business now. Mr. Bailey and I are working on a current petition. We're getting that thing up and going. So if you know of any businesses or any other places that we may be able to place that petition, just contact me at firstladytasha@gmail.com, and I'll get with you and make sure you have a petition set up at your business, so we can get all the signatures that we need, because at the end of the day, the whole goal is to get Mr. Bailey back up and running. Now, I started this last week. I want to say on last Tuesday when I went to the city council meeting, the one that you were threw out of.
Yes.
I spoke with you, right? I spoke with you that evening, and then on the next day is when I actually started to pick things up and, looking into this and looking into that, talking to different people. Last Wednesday, I made a post on my First Lady Tasha Mack page. It took off like wildfire. Over 11,000 people have seen that post. I've been contacted by an abundance of people, small business owners, trailer owners, truck owners, and then concerned citizens of Lawton. They've also reached out to me, and that always is so reassuring that the city, not only just, that the city is actually behind you on this. I don't know if you actually took the time to look at the post, but there is not one comment on there negative. Everything about there is like everybody wants you back up in business. Everybody wants to see you. They wondering where that fish is at.
Well, I know the city is not behind it. It's just certain individuals in the city that are in certain positions that cause this shot. The people, citizens of Lawton, didn't actually know what's been going on. Now that they're beginning to see it, yes, they're going to choose what's right. And this is just a small group of people that's not good for Lawton. Lawton can't grow with racism and prejudice going on. We have to talk about it and settle it and move on in life. It leaves a bitter taste in everybody's mouth. So the thing is sit down, talk about it, get it right. There's laws that they shut me down on, and I'm presenting the same laws that I'm abiding by correctly. So that's what I'm asking for.
Okay, other than the not moving, were there any more violations that they were trying to write you up on, or?
Well, everything that they came to me was all just threatening. I mean, they came and said if I don't move the trailer, then they're gonna come down on me. Once the health department got involved with they're gonna come down on me with multiple inspections, and that's what they did with coming in my trailer with 4 inspectors. I have a 20-foot trailer. You're gonna come and inspect my trailer with 4 inspectors 4 times a week. 4 times in a month. And that's what they did. The health department, they just harassed me with that type of way. And then 7 months earlier, it was Mr. Zach and faking as a health department agent coming in and harassing me. So it's all been about harassment, but nothing about the law. They told me there was no such law, and I had to go get these laws from the bylaws, and that's the only thing that I have to fight on is my rights as a lawyer.
Now, from my understanding, this is the second place you set up?
Yes, I was priorly set up for 2 years out at Fort Sill. I was up under the federal health department, which they're the ones that set me up and asked me what I like to set up out at Fort Sill. Well, they did the rights. They said the trailers have to have running water, electric, and the bathroom access, and that was allowed them to set up. So when Miss Jordan of the state health department told me what they actually closed me down for, I went to the federal health department to see why was I able to set up out there and I wasn't able to sit down there. So she gave me their bylaws and told me to tell Miss Jordan to give me their bylaws. That's how I became across these bylaws, because they wasn't going to tell me about this license. Only thing that I had going, I already knew that I was working under them situations for 2 years already. They kept telling me I couldn't work like that at the government. That's the same that I could in the state. But the laws are the same as the federal health department as the state health department.
Okay. Mr. Bailey, have you been contacted about this situation by anyone?
No one's contacted me. Only contact they gave me is as far as I contact them. Far as they're concerned, they closed me. Nobody's told me nothing about getting licensed, or anything. Why did I filed and asked for why did I get all this going on, and nobody's done nothing and said nothing. So I have to reach out to the public to get things done. Every door I go to, they shut a door on me, and another public person will step up and say, yeah, trailers have to move every 12 hours. But they will never acknowledge that I have this license in front of me that says that I'm operating correctly.
Okay, well, from my understanding, you're set up at a great location, Second Street. There's hardly any food places right there on that strip. Well, there's you, and then there's Mackenzie's. Okay, that's actually a great location for you guys to be. You're right across from the new strip mall, the Kohl's and the Ulta and all of that. Um, do you think this is about location?
Well, they have, they call, well, they said I didn't have the right to be there. So I don't know if I was set up somewhere else in Lawton. It might have been different. But the law says that I have the right to set up anywhere in Lawton. And the city ordinance is the same. But now that they didn't went, and since they made up the lie and closed me down, now they went and passed the law. So now if they do give me my license, they still win because they rushed and made the law, passed it. And it wasn't even a law. So why would you have to go rush and pass it?
Do you happen to know that law off the top of your head?
Which one where they closed me down? They said that I didn't have the right, that trailers can't set up, that they have to move every 12 hours. Now, the law that they've just put in motion, they're saying the same thing, that trailers have to move every 12 hours. They're saying that they wanted to comply with the health department law. That's what the city says. But if they're complying with the health department law, then that means they have to comply with this 45F license too. But at the same time, if you're going to comply with the law and said trailers have to move every 12 hours, how can you sit up here and still change the law and you still allow this snow cone stand to stay open and operate on a 45F license, with a fixed figure, and I can't do it. See, you even changed the law, but you still haven't put the other trailer in there. You told me my rights as a black, and you still allowing the white trailer to set up, and that's not fair.
Okay. Have you been in contact with any of the other owners of the trailers and food trucks here?
No, but I know if you go up under the health department laws, you're up under one of these three licenses. And it's not what the city tells me that they get to set up because they sell snow cones or ice or whatever. If you get a license from the health department, you're getting one of these three licenses is what you have to set up. Just because I sell a bottle of water, they're gonna give you if you're gonna be a fixed figure, you have to set up on a 45F license.
Okay, well, on the original post that I made, this guy, he reached out to me. He told me that he was blacklisted from all of Lawton's events. He has a truck or a trailer, and he was blacklisted. Do you feel that you can become blacklisted due to this?
Well, right now I don't have any license. I can't operate, period. I'm on a no operation list.
Sure. 8 months out of business is a long time. I couldn't fathom the idea of being out of business for 8 months, knowing that this is your way of making income. This is how you provide for yourself. This is how you survive out here. It's a legal hustle. He's out here slanging fish. It's like if you close down all his avenues and revenues of making money, what do you really expect him to do? You cannot expect him to, you know what I'm saying? Like, how is he gonna live? What alternatives did you guys give him? Like, did the city reach out to you and give you some alternative methods to get you back up and going?
They've gave me no help but supporting the health department's decision, which that was a decision the city also was involved in. See, I felt like coming to the city council, I felt like they was gonna give me support because I was saying, well, the state did all these wrong, but then they jumped right on the state's bandwagon and say, no, trailers have to move. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. And if so, I've been hit by both sides, the city and the state.
So, How does Mr. Lee feel about this? And for those who don't know, Mr. Lee actually owns the business. It's Lee's Detail Shop down there on Second Street. He actually owns the business where Mr. Bailey's food truck was set up at.
Well, see, that's why I say it's more or less of a black thing because see, before I came down there and I was out at Fort Sill, Lee was operating his business and he was being harassed the same way. They came with him with all different officials, which they have information and thing, and he has people that's in the city. He knows more people, and Mr. Tanner's name was the one that was actually trying to get him closed. Is he's not selling food, he's detailing cars. And he's been told the same thing that I've been told for setting up. They tried to run him away from there. As soon as I set up, they got off him and came to me. So they don't want any blacks back down there, even though that's a predominant black area. They closed it up.
That was.
But we have the right.
Black area.
We have the right to come back and set up as business people to operate. I mean, the people are still there. It's still black, low income. So we have the right to set up.
Now, I did grow up on Second Street right there behind it when it used to be called Columbia Square. So I do feel a certain kind of way about that area, the things that have been done to that area nowadays. It's a tricky situation because that was a predominantly black area. They covered up the park amongst the other businesses that were pushed out, bought out, and amongst other things. And now it is not the area that I once grew up in. And now actually I heard the residents behind that are complaining about all the stores and they say it floods now.
Yes, flooding in Carver, but that issue they have to fix that too.
Man, now Mr. Bailey, have you reached out to anyone in the city besides Miss Jordan and Miss Jennifer?
No, I haven't. I mean, I'm doing this interview, and like I say, I talked to the city officials about getting anywhere, talking to them. So I'm going with the Lawton Grapevine, and just hope that things start opening up this way for me.
Oh, okay. Now, Thursday morning, I had was it Thursday, I had a meeting with Ms. McGahee, Mr. Tanner, and Mr. Richard Rogowski. From what I was told, they want to assist you in getting you back up and running.
Well, I haven't heard any of them tell me. I just been told what I can't do and what I've been doing wrong, and I haven't seen anything yet by law that I've done wrong.
Okay, so you've been told what you can't do and what you've been doing wrong. Has
Right.
anyone told you what you can do?
No.
That's what you're trying to find out now.
Right.
Okay, so that's what we're trying to find out. If anyone has any information on what Mr. Bailey can do to get himself back in business, or if you want to help out in this situation and assist Mr. Bailey in getting back in business, like I said before, all you have to do is reach out to me, First Lady Tasha Mack, or you can contact Mr. Bailey. Did you want them to have your phone number?
Yeah, my phone number is 580-713-9338.
You can reach out to Mr. Bailey. Support is definitely necessary in this situation because at the end of the day, just imagine if you were out of work for 8 months. Would you want somebody to offer you a job or to help you get back up and going? 8 months, that's a lot of bills. To maintain yourself monthly, you of course have to pay rent like water, gas, insurance, phone bill, with no source of income. How are you staying afloat?
Nah. Bad.
And that is bad because we as citizens, we have to look out for each other. And it's like, if you're not staying afloat, then I'm not staying afloat. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, if you can be done like this, what's stopping them from doing me like this? Or what's stopping them from doing the next person like this? If you have experienced any downfalls or negative effects of small business please contact me and let me know. We're trying to get the situation tabled and handled as quickly and as swiftly as possible. Everyone wants you back up in business.
I appreciate the help. Thank you.
A lot of people have contacted me saying different little things. A lot of it I have looked into. Some of it I'm still looking into. Like I said, just to name a few of the people that I spoke to. I spoke with Mr. Tanner. I spoke with Miss McGahee. I spoke with Richard Rogowski. I spoke with Lynette Jordan. I spoke with Dan Brown, but he said he had to confirm something to get an appointment with me. He couldn't set an appointment with me. I'm not for sure why. A lot of people have asked me, have you reached out to an attorney about this?
I'm trying to work on that right now.
You know, it is hard reaching out to different attorneys when you've been out of work for 8 months, you know, because they look at, you're out of work for 8 months, how are you going to pay me? So, you know, the thing I was told was to try to find you a lawyer who likes to take on high profile cases, because this is exactly what that would turn into, a high profile case. And, you know, just contact them and see what they would do.
Okay.
Now, like I said, I'm waiting for a few other people to contact me back. I reached out to some of these small businesses in that area. You know, there are a few, not many, but I reached out to the ones on the left and the ones on the right. I have not got a response back yet. Am I surprised? Not at all. This is way more into that story than what you guys know. We're going to finish looking into the story and we're going to get Mr. Bailey back up and running. But like I said, if you have a business that you would allow us to put a petition at, or if you had any information or if you've been done wrong, contact me, First Lady Tasha Mack at gmail.com. We'll see what we can do about your situation and get Mr. Bailey back up and going. Anything else you want to say to the people?
Thank you for your time.
Thanks for your time. You guys have a great day. It's First Lady Tasha Mack. I'm out. Don't stop it.